sculpting pretty people sucks. Trying to catch just the right level of symmetry is really tough. A few years ago, I did my whole family as action figures for Christmas. And my prettiest nephew was just like really a pain in the ass to get down right, because his face is just perfectly symmetrical. Okay, let's see here. Okay. And lighting is always tricky as well. That's why all these different angles are so helpful. When I'm making a figure that's not a surprise, just much better. I can actually get source photos from my subject most of the time, and it makes things so much easier. Okay, I think I gotta go a little smaller than this piece here. Finding these little tiny thingies here where you're trying to get just a little piece of clay. Sorry, let me throw my Bob Ross voice. You know, you're just trying to find just a little perfect little piece of clay. It's kind of stupid because I'm cutting the clay the size that I want it. That little space right there between the nose and the cheek is always tricky, because there's no shadow to really define it in most cases. It makes it very difficult to create just the right sweep. You wouldn't think of it the moment that this is going to be a really handsome guy when this is done. Right now it looks kind of like a little gargoyle monster. I promise you it'll get there. It will get there. That was a horrible Scottish accent. It's been a while since I worked on my accents. I got to do that. Guess I haven't watched enough original series Star Trek lately. I can't do it, Kitten. Just kind of ironic that James Doohan was actually Irish, doing a Scottish accent. I've been doing really good. I've gotten 2 head sculpts done, 2.5 head sculpts done in 3 days. I was going to do some more, but my daughter came home from work. She actually called me on the way home from work. And she said, "Are you going to the gym?" And I'm like, "Why?" Because I don't feel good. I was wondering if we could just kind of hang out a little bit. So she got home from work, got something to eat. It was about like 9:45 last night. And she said, "Ooh, can we watch Hocus Pocus?" It really is true what they say, that like daughters wrap dads around their little fingers. But that's okay. Wouldn't have it any other way. get along really well with my son too, so. Okay. I'm just trying to get basic shapes down. Like here you can see like this side of the face is kind of pushed in a little bit more. So I got to add a little piece to that to try and bring that up, so it's level and symmetrical with the other side. Then once I do that, I'm going to compare it to my source photos again and see how it is. This way, if I have to trim anything, I will be trimming evenly off of both sides. A lot of looking at the subject. The little finger cut is for, see, I've got very rough hands. It's very, very tough. Weird. And they leave fingerprints and lines in the chalk, in the clay. So you get like little, I was using like full rubber gloves, but man, they make your hands sweat. It's very, very difficult to try and hold on to sculpting tools while your hands are sweating. Okay. All right. Okay. That's getting there. Okay. Now, let's see here. Check my reference photos again. Should have taken more of these when I had the chance. Oh, that's definitely okay. Ooh, okay. Let's see. Right now I'm measuring this against my image on my computer screen, and I have to push this cheekbone back considerably, like that, and still get a decent sweep from the cheekbone, like that. This is another problem when you get a reference on one side but not the other. So I've got a good profile shot on the one side. So what I'm going to have to do is open up the image in my in the app, flip it, and then save it as a separate picture, so I can get the shape down on both sides of the face. Okay. Ooh. I think interesting. Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to push the nose up a little bit. So Chug the coffee, chug the coffee. Lots of coffee is necessary. Okay. Okay. Pull that back on that side. Okay. Let me do this a second. Flip horizontal. Save as. All right, let's see here. Ooh, okay. That's why it is always good to check your source material, because I made the forehead has to slope back more like that. Yeah. Oops. I'm making a mess, which is typical. I've never done a sculpture run. I'll knock things over. There's just never enough room on the art table. Put this over here. Okay. There we go. Always save your clay. Stuff is expensive at $18 a pound. Super Sculpey firm. Super Sculpey firm. Okay, gotta pull the forehead sloping back a bit more. Okay, let's check that. Okay, much better. The other thing I have to do is I made the chin protrude a little much. Not only that, the whole angle of the bottom of the face actually should slope back towards the rest of the face, which means I have to kind of work this in a little bit here and pull some clay back this way. Okay, and the cheekbones are up and high like this. Okay, and it comes about midway in the eye like there, and then down here. So we're really looking at the landmarks in the face. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm checking the source photo. See, from the angle of the corner of the eye down to the back to the outside of the cheekbone here. It's sort of like a very pronounced spot in the face where you can definitely see where things are supposed to go. See some of the cheek muscles. Okay, that's good. Better. Okay. I think I'm going to have to fill in a little around the eyes, around in here. Don't know how long I'm going to be able to go with this today because it's just going to be a little challenging. Okay. Not too bad. I gotta take this up a little bit here. It's funny, I did my review yesterday on Eric July's comic book. And there were a couple of people in the comments talking about the value of it, overpriced and whatnot. You know, the creative process is very, very difficult. It really can take on a life of its own. And you have to really think about not only the amount of time that it's taken you to produce something, but also the amount of time that it's taken you to get as good at producing as you are. And I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration. It's sort of like, how am I trying to put this? Like, it takes a long time to develop that level of skill. And you can't really put too much of a price tag on that, because everything you've gone through to bring you to that moment is what's going into the work. Oh. Yeah, I'm currently, I've been working on an Ethan sculpt for a while, Odin. It's it's just so hard to get angles for his face. Like I've gotten his sculpture done 2 to 3 times, and every time I look at it, it just doesn't seem to have the resemblance that I want. Of course, I also want to send him some figures that he may or may not enjoy. And I would hate to do a whole lot of work on them for him to destroy them. Let's just put it this way. I would really like to make an action figure for him that says, if you don't like my figure, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my action figure. Having a hard time finding like the little pointy glasses too that will fit a female head. One of the problems with 6-scale accessories is they typically only fit like 1 or 2 styles or sizes of heads. Or coffee. I love his comic books, though. And he lives very close to me. I almost, if I had known him and Cecil were going to the Monster Mania Con, I would have went over there and met them. Cecil's seen some of the stuff some of the work I've done for when I made the Drunk 3PO action figure, and because Cecil and Jay are pretty tight, but I doubt that he would recognize my name or anything. But he's seen some of the stuff that I've done, and I'd really like to. Probably this week I'll finish up Ethan's. That's another thing too, like that makes it difficult. It's like Ethan has, obviously, if you Google his pictures for reference, he's aged, which changes your features a bit, and he's gained and lost weight, which changes your features a bit. Oh, thanks, Gap. Yeah, I can't wait to finish that. I'm working on doing the wrist bracers, and I was having a heck of a time trying to work out how to get that done. So I ended up making a cast of the wrist of the action figure, and what I'm going to do is mold a clay bracer around a framework, and then cure it, and then make a mold of that, and then get a very low viscosity resin that can pour into there, and I'll have accurate bracers. Then I just have to figure out a way to attach the wrist, the ankle wings. The ankle wings that I made for it were, let's see, find one. Here's one of the ankle wings I had originally made for the Namor figure. And the Namor figure is actually much more of a kit bash, because what I did was I took a head sculpt of what is his name? The guy from Terminator Salvation and the Clash of the Titans movies. Sam Worthington, I think that's him. And I looked at, like, there was a head sculpt of him that had like a very stern feature. I'm like, cool, you know what? If I sculpt some pointed ears on him and a widow's peak, I can make a pretty decent Namor figure out of that. So much easier than like starting. If it's for my own personal collection, I like to do a lot of kit bashing, because like, for example, this new Namor that they're coming out with, my 6-scale collection is to represent the comic books that I love. So if the character, like, for example, I'm a fan of Doctor Strange in the comic books. So I wanted my Baron Mordo to look like Baron Mordo in the comic books. So I took this head sculpt, pre-existing head sculpt of Joaquin Phoenix and Joker, and I added a goatee to him with some milliput, gave him a black, hair and things, and made him look like the comic accurate version, which works out much better for my collection than just a this way, if no one's ever seen the movie but they read the comic book, like, Hey, wow, it's Baron Mordo. It's a little bit of fan casting too, like who you would see is like, because Baron Mordo, it's very sinister. So yeah, hopefully I will have Ethan's head sculpt done within the week. I also have a few others. I'm currently working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 head sculpts. Oh, thanks, Gap. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see. I also have a comic accurate Ancient One. I figure if Marvel's not going to respect the source material, I will. And that's really the point that I try to get across, is that if you don't like what's being produced, find a way to do it yourself. Whether it's through kit bashing, learning how to sculpt, learning how to, even commission somebody to do it for you if you want. Flatten his mouth a bit. That's going to go here. That's going to go here. Bottom lip smaller and thinner. Draw that in like that. Okay. And kind of push that in that way. All right. This is going to be interesting. Okay. All right. Source photos. I try to get some different angles and match them up. So many of these things are very, very difficult to catch an accurate angle. Okay, so cheekbone needs to come in a little bit. Not much, just a tiny bit. A little shaving. Shaving cream, be nice and clean. Shave every day and you'll always look keen. Yeah, that's a very, very old song. It's very old, just like me. The old Dr. Demento show. It was Benny Bell. Shaving cream, be nice and clean. Shave every day and you'll always look. All right, I'll stop. Don't want to subject anybody to my singing. Oh yeah, if you're looking for okay, I taught myself how to sew. Well, kind of taught myself how to sew. My daughter actually taught me how to sew. And I say that because my daughter got into American Girl doll toys, which are freaking crazy expensive. And she wanted clothes for them. And I'm like, I mean, the toys themselves, the doll runs, it was like $118 for a basic model at the time. I'm sure they're much more than that now. I'll have to check with my buddy because my goddaughter is now into them. And she's, they're paying like regular price for it. Where the heck did I put that? Oh, crap, I left in the other room. Okay. So yeah, so I started getting some of the knockoff clothes from Target and Walmart that didn't quite fit the American Girl doll figures, but I got them. I took a couple of them apart to see how they were made, and interestingly, like one of the biggest things that to think of when you're sewing is actually the order in which things get sewn together. That makes such a huge difference. Okay. I have to come in on this side. I have to pull this nostril in to here, which means this cheek is going to come into about here, which means I need a strip of clay like there, lay you there. Kind of work that in there. Yeah, but things like that, a lot can be very self-taught very easily. Takes some time, a lot of failures, but probably not as long as you think it would. Okay. I didn't want that button. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. I'm currently checking source photos again. Okay. So cheekbone goes up around here. Like that. Kind of drawing with the tool here a little bit. Pull that through like that a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to coincide Ethan getting his figure when the Cyber Frogs came out. I'm really looking forward to getting a hold of them. Because I was hoping that before he had all the trouble with like the initial run of them kind of getting delayed, I was hoping to get one and then kind of use it as reference to make a 6 scale one so that he could have a 6 scale Cyber Frog to go with his 6 scale Ethan action figure, which I would probably put him in like a costume of like, you know, the fast food chicken manager. Never lose your inner smartass. Okay. Definitely use a sewing machine. Sewing machines are important. Yeah, that and sell an Android. That would be cool. 6 scale. Okay. Let's see. still have to pull the chin in a little bit. I think what I'm going to do, get something a little more rounded, like this. Kind of draw back a bit, like so. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing the whole surface of the clay in, because it will also tug in the clay around it as well, not just the piece you're touching. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take the knife. The chin's pretty round right there. Just kind of trim this little piece out there like that. Bottom lip is way too big. Okay. Okay, proportions are pretty spot on. Placement, here's my dryer. Placement of the nose. Okay. Mouth is in good position, but the shape and the placement of the lips is off. So I have to, all right, where's my little, this guy here. I gotta pull this in here this way, like that. Always works best if you pull towards the center. You're working that, because that's the natural course of the upper lip. Okay, we're going to take this thing here on the larger end. We're going to work this in here for that little thingy like that that's under the nose, which I knew the name of at one point, but it's completely escaping me at the moment. Oh no, someone's going to report me. Report me to the vocabulary teacher. There are 4 lights. Sorry, there I go again. Being very random. Okay. Here. Push that in a little too much there. And I can take this guy here. Round in there a bit. One of these days, I'm going to do a really bad and unflattering sculpture of someone, and send it to them, and like, you know, just have it so the next day, the actual figure is getting there. The lengths I'll go to for a joke. Always laugh at yourself. Okay. Whew. This thing's kicking my ass a little bit. Oh, the trip to California was great. So much fun. Learned a lot too. These guys are just like very, very good at their crafts. Clicky, clicky, clicky. Okay. The angle here, I'm going to take this one here because this is a little bit longer. Pull this through this way. So that goes to there. And that's going to go right in there. I'll go there. Okay. Thank you, Mainframe Online Gaming TV. It's a process. My first one, the first attempts on this were not very good. Sculpting, I mean. I looked at it and was like, ooh, that's terrible. But you just got to be consistent and tenacity. You just keep plugging away at it. And before you know it, it comes together. Ooh, 214. I got about 15 minutes before I have to teach a class. Okay. Let's see here. Source photos. The other thing is that's very difficult is expression. Because, and this is always interesting, that like when you sculpt a woman, women like to have like smiling expressions and looking happy and pleasant. Men, in my experience, like to be much more stern and like, capable looking. So where you can take a picture of a woman who's smiling and you can work that into your sculpture. Men, it doesn't really work too well because we just don't like to really do it that much. If you have an action figure, you want it to be like actiony and kind of action hero embodiment. Okay, all right. I think I'm going to put this up for a little bit because I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to make some mistakes. And 3D sculpting. Okay, so I have the program and I've played with it a little bit, but that in itself takes so much time to learn. So it's kind of at had a decision to make. Do I keep working my skills as a physical sculptor, or do I kind of ditch it and say, let me try to learn a whole new method instead? But I definitely want to try it at some point. I got my son who does a really good job with Blender, and he does 3D modeling. A friend of mine who specializes in diorama sets. My son actually did some 3D modeling for him for a project and printed it out, and it came out really nice for Final Fantasy VII. My biggest issue is with computers is the frustration level, because at my age, I didn't grow up with computers. I started learning on them back in like 2005, 2006, when I said to my wife, you know what, our kids are going to grow up in computers and we don't know how to use one. We got to get one of these things so we can at least have some idea about what's going on when they're on a computer. Um, which I did a little bit of. I got pretty good. Which meant she didn't have to. She was just like, why do I need to do that? You can just do it for me. No, can I? Like, I'm not necessarily appreciating that idea. kept telling her, we really need is that great big fishing cooler, that's human size. Then we can go fishing. She didn't appreciate my humor. Yes, I do have a ZBrush. I've played with a little bit, but all the vectoring and stuff like that kind of goes on with that is a little intimidating to me. So I do want to try it at some point. I just find the tangible physical sculpting to be very therapeutic. It's like very calming. It's a nice nice way to get things together. And it's, there's a lot of the professional sculptors that are using it, but I've had so many people, and they could just be blowing smoke up my ass to make me feel better because I've done something for them, but I've had so many people say, like, yeah, but this is handmade. This is all like, that's a little bit cooler because it's handmade. Now, there's probably a very good likelihood that they're just saying that because, like, when you see one of these ZBrush sculpts that are just like so accurate, it's like so much better than like any human possibly could get. Yeah, I think it's very, very impressive. One day I will learn how to use it. Okay. All right, I'm going to let him sit for a little bit so I can come back and check it out with fresh eyes. Maybe go hit the gym before I teach classes and loosen everything up because I've been sitting in this chair for too many hours. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will hope to get something happening very soon. Have a wonderful day.